Next, we've got a couple of CCV hoses here, and it's kind of hard to see, but we've got one here. There's one here as well. We could probably leave that one, but I'll go ahead and pull it. And if you follow this, it hooks into the vacuum rail here. So this one's probably the only one you can actually see, but if you squeeze the fitting, you can then pull it loose. So it's just like that on all of them. Just gonna use a pair of pliers here. Okay, there's one. And get to this one from the back side, it looks like. Squeeze that in. Okay. This one loose. And it looks like it has oil. Yeah, oil coming from it. So there's definitely a problem with the crankcase ventilation system here. The valve is probably not working. So we may do something different when we go to put this back together, just to get rid of this oil consumption. Let's see, one more here. Actually, I'm just going to leave that one because it'll come off when we take the manifold off itself. So next, we're going to go ahead and do the manifold bolts and see if we can just take this out. Actually, I've got one more nut here. Let's see, might be able to leave that one. Yeah, you can leave that one. It's just a bracket that holds the positive battery cable, so just pop the cable out of the bracket. We'll leave that in there. So next we're going to do the intake manifold nuts. To take the intake manifold off, you're going to need an 11mm socket, and we're just going to start here. If I've got to take a lot of nuts or bolts off, I usually like to just go through and break them free. First. There may be a better way, who knows? Probably a certified mechanic would know. Get to this one, a little tricky. There it is. Make sure there's not two. Okay, so that's just one nut. And usually once I get it all freed up, I can just use the extension with my hands and then go back through and take them off. This one. Two. Three. just for the fun of it, I'm going to break out one of the old tools here I've got around the shop. One of my dad's tools. See, that one's pulled the whole stud out. We'll have to put that back in. It's okay. I'm just gonna keep on trucking here. Almost thought I was going to lose that one. Next, I'm going to take the purge valve off of the intake manifold. It just slips off there. It's a rubber bracket. Just hangs on there. Okay, just pull that down out of the way a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and take this fuel rail off. There's a little connector back here for this hose. Let's see if I can. It's got a blue collar on it. It's really hard to see. But basically, you push that down and it will release the fuel line, and we'll just get that out of the way. And so it pops off right there. You're going to lose a little bit of fuel as it comes out. You may want to get a paper towel or something, but it's not a lot. What I'm going to do now is take the dipstick out, and the tube here where the dipstick goes. And to do that, you actually have to pull this hose off first, and then you'll be able to see the bolt that's holding it on there. So I'm going to see if I can pull that off now. Okay. So there's the hose. This goes to the CCV system as well. Your crankcase ventilation, and it actually drains back into your dipstick tube, so it goes back into the oil pan. So now you can kind of see the bolt here. Not sure what size it is, but we'll pop it off next. Okay, it's a 13 millimeter. That's what you need on this. I'm going to use just a really small ratchet. Now this should be loose. It's got this bracket here that just kind of gets in the way. Okay. So this is where the oil comes back through the CCV system. It runs through the hose into here, and it's kind of a separate little passageway in there. Okay, that gets clogged up sometimes. I think this one's okay. I've just had it out this past fall. Alright. Oh, and there's also an O-ring that doesn't come out when you pull this out. You have to fish it out of there. Make sure you get that O-ring and put it back on so you don't lose it. So let's take off the throttle body now. An electrical connection here. It's kind of hard to get to. There we go. Pop that off. And we can get to the lower bolts here. Alright. One bolt in here. There it goes. That one. I've already taken the top two bolts out, and we've got one more here. Let's just go ahead and get rid of the ratchet. Okay, that's the last one. Let's go ahead and pull him off. Out of there. Looks pretty good. But I will be cleaning that out, and I'm going to go ahead and write down a new gasket too. So, okay, the final nut that's holding the intake manifold on is a 16 millimeter. It's right there. You can't really see it unless you take the throttle body off. So pop this guy off. I'm going to try it with an extension. Let's see. Put another extension on here. Okay. I see it. Gotcha. There you are. So it's essentially free now. There are two vacuum lines on the back. And that's all we have left to do is just pop those vacuum lines off, and then we'll take the manifold off. Back here on the back corner of the manifold, you're going to see 2 vacuum lines. We want to just pull those off. Let's lay the light here. There's one. You can see I put some new vacuum lines on in the fall, so this one just popped right off, no problem. Find the other one here. Okay, that's it. So that should do it. We're going to pull it off here and feed this battery cable as we go. Oops. One more thing I forgot to mention. One more thing here. This looks like the this hose assembly is also going to have to come off here. There's a bracket here, and it looks like a torque. Let's see what we got here. It's smaller or bigger, I think. Free. There it goes. Go ahead and put this bolt back in so I don't lose it. Okay, now we've got a couple of other things here. Looks like an electrical connector on the back. Pull that. And another vacuum hose. Okay. Now Looks like this vacuum hose needs to come off of here. And also let's go ahead and take him off. And this connector here. That's the purge valve. All right. So looking at it, it looks pretty clean. The gasket looks good. Just look in here at these valves. They look actually nice and clean. Yeah, not bad. And here we have, looks like a mouse nest.